Welcome to the worst sports channel on YouTube, Hot Garbage Sports with me, Coach Ryan D. NFL Week 1 is in the books, and what a week it was. Whatever bets you made, fantasy players you rolled out, or teams you cheer for, it was probably all wrong, screwed up, or you didn't even come close. And if you did, it was pure luck. Week 1 of the NFL is the most exciting week in sports because you have no idea what is going to happen, and every game matters. I know in all sports they say every game matters, but when it's only 17 games, formerly 16 games, it's a really big deal to get off to a hot start. So stick with us till the end of the video while we break down every division in the NFL, what happened on Sunday and what happened on Monday. Let's go ahead and hit the intro. And if you're new to Hot Garbage Sports, please consider us giving a thumbs up and a subscribe. We cover the best in the NFL and mostly the NHL, so we're really into contact sports over here. We'd love to have you with us on our way to 5,000. Let's start with the NFC, specifically the NFC West. The projected number 1 division in football this year did not disappoint as all 4 teams are undefeated. The Rams end up absolutely destroying Chicago on Sunday Night Football. Matthew Stafford throws a massive bomb to start off the game because of course he did. Everybody but apparently the Chicago defense knew that Stafford was going to throw a massive bomb to start that game. It's Matt Stafford. He wants to show that this was Detroit's fault and not his. LA is looking like the Super Bowl contending team that they are. Cooper Kupp was on fire. Van Jefferson, amazing deep threat. Robert Woods' role was diminished a little bit, and Darrell Henderson looked quite strong. The LA defense looks formidable as well too. So right now it is looking like LA is the team to beat in this division and possibly the NFC. I know it's only week 1, but that was a performance. San Francisco 49ers put up a massive lead and end up winning 41-33 against the putrid Detroit Lions. If there isn't a worse team in sports, I don't know what it is, but the other bad teams in sports, ironically, also exist in the NFL, and we'll get to them as well too. The Detroit Lions end up coming back quite substantially in this game, and Jared Goff with his putrid arm, he does not like to stretch it downfield, does the work with 2 running backs between DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams, along with his tight end TJ Hawkinson. So short passes for the win for Jared Goff. He almost comes back, but the lead was too insurmountable. The Lions continue to be losers, although they are biting kneecaps, I'm told. The Arizona Cardinals, the most exciting team in the league right now. That was some backyard football display by Kyler Murray. Oh my God, Hopkins and Kirk look like they're ready to feast in this offense. If you have a piece of the Arizona offense in fantasy, you are about to go off. The Cardinals were projected to be dead last in this division. Not by a long shot, just because it's a good division. That may not be the case anymore. Let's see if Kyler can continue this. The Seattle Seahawks and Russell Wilson. Wilson gets to cook. They tried running Carson, a nice 94 yards for Carson, but he's definitely not as effective as Russell Wilson throwing that ball. Tyler Lockett with a monster day, and it's either a Lockett day or a Metcalf day. This week, it ends up being a Lockett day. The Seattle Seahawks dispatch of the Colts 28-16. The NFC South, New Orleans Saints. Jameis Winston's the biggest story out of this game right now for the Saints. He looks fantastic. He threw to a bevy of wide receivers. He did not have a favorite. He just threw to whoever's open. 5 touchdowns on the day for Jameis Winston. That's a 38-3 victory. Tampa Bay Buccaneers end up beating the Dallas Cowboys. That game was covered above. The Carolina Panthers go 1-0 and the Sam Darnold revenge tour continues. Darnold looked solid. Wilson looked weak. The Carolina Panthers, Christian McCaffrey, run CMC. He's still the best in the league. And the wide receivers for the Carolina Panthers look solid, as well as their defense. What a really nice defense by Carolina on that game. But it is the Jets. Along with the Lions, the Jets are one of the biggest losers in the NFL. Sorry, Broadway Joe. At least you won a Super Bowl. The Atlanta Falcons and the Dirty Birds looked exactly as advertised. Slow, sluggish, old. With the exception of Pitts and Ridley, there is nothing exciting going on with this team. Pitts looks slight and slender like a wide receiver, but he's an athletic freak and maybe one of the most talented players in the NFL. Even after game 1, you can see the potential oozing off this guy. Ridley started off 3 for 39 and looked like it was going to be a monster day. Then he was quickly quieted by the Philadelphia Eagles defense. So that leaves us with the NFC South with 3 winners and 1 loser. That loser being the Atlanta Falcons. The NFC North, Bupkis, 0-1 for the NFC North. The Vikings end up losing to the Cincinnati Bengals. The Detroit Lions, we just talked about them. The Chicago Bears, again, looks like they're going to struggle, but the big story out of this division is the Green Bay Packers. Oh my God, Aaron Rodgers, Has he fallen off a cliff, or was it the drama of the offseason that kept this out? This was an embarrassing game for Packers fans, for the Packers in general. I have never seen an elite quarterback play that bad. Even when Manning, Brett Favre, and Drew Brees fell off the proverbial quarterback cliff, they were still serviceable. This was embarrassing, Aaron. It was just an absolutely terrible game. I think Aaron Rodgers and the revenge tour will rebound, or at least I'm biasly really hoping so, because I have Rodgers everywhere in fantasy football. So bad news if you're a Packers fan. And then in the NFC Northeast, the proposed weakest division over here, the Philadelphia Eagles are 1-0 and everybody else lost. The Washington football team ends up losing Ryan Fitzpatrick. Heineke is in. He's going to be the quarterback going forward for now. Fitzpatrick really was going to make this offense run. Fitz is the better option between them two. McLaurin, he's going to get a knockdown in fantasy circles and in real football circles now that he has Heineke throwing in the ball. Gibson should be just fine. Curtis Samuel's still out, and Logan Thomas takes a small hit as well too. Maybe an uptick for targets because he's a safety valve, but it's definitely going to be a hit. The LA Chargers end up dispatching that Washington football team defense. And frankly, the Washington football team themselves, that defense is amazing, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to hold off teams with Heineke at the helm. The Philadelphia Eagles look strong. Jaylen Hurts looks absolutely fantastic right now. You gotta love what you're seeing out of Hurts. There's a couple really nice design plays to Quez Watkins over there. Watkins looks like a steal, and Rieger and Smith look like the number one draft picks they were always drafted to be, with Miles Sanders running quite well, probably the best I've seen him run in 2 years. So the Philadelphia Eagles may be a surprise out of this division right now. The New York Giants, still terrible. Smooth Kenny G ends up with a decent day, but outside of that, the Giants stink. Daniel Jones sucks. Basically, if you're a team from New York, you're going to have a long year ahead of you. Daniel Jones has to go. New York's an awful team with him under center. All right, pivoting to the AFC. The AFC North, I think the most fun division in football. Steelers, Bengals, Browns, and Ravens. The Browns and the Ravens dropped 2 surprise losses. It wasn't really a surprise for the Browns because they lost to the Chiefs, and that was an amazing game. They were up big time on the Chiefs going into this, going for it at 4th and 3 and then smashing in a 2-point conversion with Kareem Hunt. You know you got to put points up against the Chiefs. The Browns did everything right but stop the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is an absolute wizard. Travis Kelce is a beast. Tyreek Hill is unstoppable, and it doesn't seem like anybody else feats in that offense because CEH and Hardman looked mediocre. Patrick Mahomes is an absolute beast when it comes to football right now. But the big story about this is a lot of fantasy football experts and Browns fans, because there's a ton, have the Browns favored quite highly this year in this division. But I'm sorry to say it, the Browns are an organization that typically falls flat on their face. History has shown us that the Browns just can't get their stuff together. They can't make it work for some reason. And, well, they haven't won in a long time, not just because of the division, but because of the Browns. So nothing surprised me about the Kansas City Chiefs beating the Browns in this game in the comeback fashion that they did. The Baltimore Ravens losing on Monday Night Football to the Las Vegas Raiders in their home building. Oh my God, what a game. Bryan Edwards, Henry Ruggs, Zay Jones. This isn't a core that you think would take apart Baltimore, but they did pretty darn well. The running back of choice was Lamar Jackson, but Tyson Williams looked pretty good, and Latavius Murray ends up joining the club for the Ravens as well too. But it didn't matter because Vegas ends up shutting them down. Josh Jacobs with 2 touchdowns. Derek Carr looked good in this game. Hey, the Raiders may be for real in their division, but the Ravens, that's a tough loss to sustain. Cincinnati Bengals end up knocking off the Vikings in overtime. Burrow looked amazing. Higgins looks amazing. And oh my God, is Jamar Chase for real? So Higgins and Chase could make one of the best wide receiver duos in the NFL going forward. The Steelers end up winning because the Steelers, the opposite of the Browns, the Jets, and the Lions, they just win. They may not be the Patriots, but the Steelers always find ways to win. They always find ways to be competitive. City of Champions. It's in their name. The Pittsburgh Steelers look strong. Big comeback against the Bills. The Steelers start 1-0. They were projected to finish 3rd in this division, but not by me. I think the Steelers actually end up taking this division. I just always think so. I've always got the Steelers in until the Steelers prove me wrong. So Deontay Johnson goes out, but you still got Chase Claypool and you got Juju Smith-Schuster. Najee Harris better figure out his life though, and this is a very good defense on the back end of Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh is definitely going to be a force in this division if Ben stays upright and healthy. But hey, he's skinny. Dolphins, the only winners out of this division because they knock off their division rivals, the New England Patriots, by 1 point. Damien Harris looked fantastic until he fumbled the ball and cost the Patriots the game. 2 young quarterbacks and Mac Jones and Tua Tua Tagovailoa looked not bad, but as serviceable as a second and a first-year quarterback would be. Nelson Agholor looks like he may be the number one receiver out of New England right now. New England and Miami, I expect to be battling for second place in this division, because even though the Bills lost to the Steelers, I still think the Bills are the team to beat in this division. So the Bills end up losing to the Steelers, but Josh Allen, the Stallion, Stefon Diggs, and the running game that is in Buffalo, including Josh Allen running. I know Moss was out and hurt, but Singletary's not bad himself. You add Josh Allen's legs to the mix, it's a good running team. So I do believe the linebacking core and the front seven for Buffalo are a force to be reckoned with. Matt Milano, Edmonds, they look absolutely like beasts up there. Buffalo will be fine. I think Buffalo wins this division, but Miami's up 1-0. The AFC South. Hey, the Houston Texans. Welcome to the league, Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence lost his first game since high school. He never lost in high school. He never lost in college. In the NFL, well, it's a different story. You can be the best prospect in the world, but you're playing against people who are also the best prospects in the world. And the Houston Texans make some noise winning this game, leading it through a running back by committee plus Tyrod Taylor. The big question's going to be in Houston. What are they going to do with Deshaun Watson if they start winning a bunch of games? I mean, that becomes very tempting for the owner to get off his high horse and play his franchise quarterback if they think they have a chance to win. Houston was projected to be the last place team in the NFL this year, but if they're going to play that way, they may not be. I know it was the Jags though, so let's give it a week. The Indianapolis Colts, obviously, they go 0-1. They end up losing to the Seahawks. No big deal here. The Seahawks are a premier team. The Colts aren't, but the Colts have the ability to win this division. Jonathan Taylor did not get it done. He was not efficient. Yes, he was the most heavily targeted. Yes, he rushed for 56 yards, but that was off 17 carries. I didn't like what I saw from Taylor today, but he'll get better, especially considering how good that offensive line was. Carson Wentz, I'm just impressed he didn't hurt himself in this game. Michael Pittman Jr. did not take over the number one role he would. And of course, Zach Pascal scored 2 touchdowns, so everybody had him fired up in their fantasy lineups, right? I don't think so. Paris Campbell looks like a guy coming off injury. Not a huge amount of hopes for the Colts in this division, in my opinion, other than the fact that they play in the AFC South. So they could absolutely recover and win this division. The Jags are the Jags. There was over 50 passing attempts coming from T-Law and Trevor Lawrence. Outside of that, nothing crazy to think of. It was just all garbage time points. Trevor Lawrence is going to have to learn to acclimatize himself to the NFL before the Jags move forward. But the Jags do join the group with the Browns, the Lions, and the Jets as the fourth team in the NFL that is, frankly, perennial losers. There's always something wrong in Jacksonville. It doesn't matter who they draft or what they draft. There's just a curse. So those 4 teams are cursed. Jacksonville's part of it. We'll call it the Axis of Curse or the Allies of Curse. Either way, they're a group. The Tennessee Titans' absolute surprising loss to the Arizona Cardinals was shocking. This is the team that was supposed to lead the division, but Derrick Henry couldn't get anything going. Ryan Tannehill looked like his feet were absolutely in stone. Julio Jones takes a stupid penalty, but A.J. Brown is still amazing. A.J. Brown is definitely the brightest spot to this team, one of the best wide receivers in football. I think maybe the best. He's the best at getting separation anyway, so the Titans are definitely going to need to retool, but if the Titans lose another one in this fashion, I'd be worried, Titans fans. But for now, it is only one game. Just sucks it was against Arizona because you got 3 better teams in that division to play as well going forward, and that could hurt. The lucky news is, so does everybody else in the AFC South. And finally, the AFC West, the undefeated AFC West, right up there with the NFC West, the AFC West, NFC West. Vegas Raiders, go figure, 1-0 on top of the division by point spread. Kansas City Chiefs, 1-0. We all saw that coming. Second best team in football behind the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Denver Broncos, 1-0. Makes sense. They played the Giants. The Giants suck. And the Los Angeles Chargers win a tough game on the road against the Washington football team. Beating Washington at home with that front seven is not easy. Herbert looks good. Allen's a great safety blanket. Mike Williams continues to drop footballs and disappoint. Sure, he had a great stat line, but at the end of the day, everybody expected Mike Williams to be better than he actually is. So he caught a lot of passes, but watch the game. His hands are still made of rocks. I'm pretty sure he's catching balls with clubs. You got to open your fingers there, kid. But they end up winning. Herbert looks solid. Eckler looks pretty good, but I'm always holding my breath worried if Eckler's going to get hurt. And Larry Roundtree ends up getting the call behind Eckler, not Justin Jackson. So it'll be interesting to see how the Los Angeles Chargers do going forward. All right, well, that was this week in the NFL. The AFC West, the NFC West are on top. Both are 1-0 in that key start, and there are some absolutely fantastic storylines to follow. Continue following us here at Hot Garbage Sports for all your NFL updates.